The news hit hard. LeBron James is expected to miss the first stretch of the season, potentially up to 10 games, and the timing couldn't be more intriguing. It's not just about losing a superstar for a few weeks. It's about what this absence could reveal, especially for a team like the Lakers that's constantly caught in the balance between chasing another title and preparing for the future. LeBron sitting out opens a door, not just for his body to recover, but for others to step into the spotlight. And this year, that spotlight's beaming straight at two names, Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. Now, let's be clear. Nobody's celebrating LeBron being sidelined. You lose reps. You lose rhythm. You lose the chance to build chemistry with your star lineup, especially early in the season when teams are trying to find their identity. There's a difference between saying Luka and LeBron look great together and saying Luka and LeBron are dominating the league as an unstoppable duo. That level of synergy takes time. Time they won't have, at least not at the start. But still, we're not talking red alert territory yet. If LeBron returns after 10 games and plays, say, 65 of the remaining 72, that's more than enough to settle in and lead this team down the stretch. But here's where things get interesting. LeBron's absence isn't just a challenge. It's an opportunity, because we're going to get a real look at what this team looks like when it's not being carried by one of the greatest players in NBA history. And that means we get a chance to see whether Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves can truly carry the load. Can they coexist? Can they thrive together? Or will this pairing expose flaws the front office needs to address before making long-term decisions? Reeves, in particular, is under the microscope. He's been grinding all offseason, living in the gym, looking sharper on offense, more confident, more assertive. But there's a difference between having a good night here and there, dropping 28 points with some highlight plays, and being the guy on a consistent basis. That's what this stretch will test. Because without LeBron, this isn't about showing flashes. This is about carrying the offense. This is about leading the team when the defense is keyed in on you night after night. If the Lakers start the season hot, say 8 wins in their first 10 games, people are going to start talking. The noise will be loud. Do the Lakers even need LeBron? But that's not the right question. Of course they need him. The goal is a championship, and you don't get there without the leadership, experience, and gravity LeBron brings. But a hot start would say something else. That maybe, just maybe, this team is deeper than people think. That Luka and Reeves might be a real duo, a foundation you can build on for years. Let's remember, Austin Reeves has shown signs he can handle this. There have been games, regular season battles against top-tier teams, where he's taken over. But those moments have been isolated. A 3-game stretch here. A wild night in Boston there. What we haven't seen is a sample size big enough to truly evaluate his ceiling. And that's why this LeBron-less stretch might be the most important 10 games of Austin Reeves' career. And it's not just about whether Reeves can score. It's about whether he can lead, whether he could develop real chemistry with Luka, whether their games complement each other or clash. If they're disjointed, that's a red flag. If they're flowing, that's a blueprint. This is when we find out if Reeves is a future cornerstone or a trade piece. Because don't forget, the Lakers are on the verge of paying him $35 to $40 million a year. That's not pocket change. That's star money. And you don't want to hand out a star-level contract unless you're absolutely certain the guy fits next to your superstar for the long haul. Now, Luka Doncic is going to be Luka regardless. That's a given. He's going to get his numbers, control the pace, and be the engine of the offense. The question is what happens around him. Does Reeves elevate? Does DeAndre Ayton step up as a reliable second or third option? Do guys like Jake LaRavia or Rui Hachimura show they belong in the long-term picture? LeBron being out means more touches, more responsibility, more minutes for everyone. And that kind of pressure can either expose players or bring out something special. We've seen it before. Players thrive when the system leans on them. Reeves, without LeBron on the court, has averaged close to 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. Those are all-star numbers. That's $50 million a year production. Now, no one's expecting him to keep up those numbers next to Luka. That would be a stretch. But can he consistently give you 23 points, 5 boards, and 6 or 7 assists? if he can, and if that production leads to wins, then suddenly the conversation shifts. Suddenly, that $35 million price tag starts to make a lot more sense. The financial side matters here too, because under the old CBA, maybe you overpay a bit and it's not a huge deal. But with the new rules and luxury tax implications, that contract needs to be spot on. The Lakers don't have the same margin for error they used to. They need to know, really know, that Reeves is worth it, that he could be a legit second or third option next to Luka and whoever else fills out that top three. There's also the question of long-term fit, not just with Reeves and Luka, but with the rest of the roster. Guys like Ray, Jake, Ayton, how do they slot in when LeBron's not there to orchestrate everything? Does someone rise unexpectedly? Does someone disappoint? If Reeves shines but Rui looks lost, maybe that nudges the front office toward making a move before the trade deadline. Maybe a young guy like Jake LaRavia forces himself into the rotation and makes someone else expendable. This is the kind of stretch where decisions get made, maybe not publicly, but definitely internally. This also matters for Reeves on a reputational level. If he shows he can be the guy without LeBron, that changes everything. It changes how defenses approach him. It changes how his teammates trust him. It changes how coaches draw up the offense. And if he proves he can step into that bigger role and thrive, it also changes how free agents and other players around the league see him. Suddenly, he's not just a nice piece next to a superstar. He is part of the core. And what about Ayton? This is a massive opportunity for him as well. With LeBron out, there's no question he's going to get more offensive touches, more pick and roll action, more post-ups, more chances to prove he's more than just a high-end role player. If Ayton can build real two-man chemistry with Luka, or even with Reeves, that's a massive win. Because if those three click, you might be looking at the future of the Lakers for the next 5 to 7 years. That's the dream scenario. Luka as your transcendent superstar. Reeves and Ayton as high-level complementary pieces, either one of them able to be your second option on any given night. And then you round it out with role players who could defend, space the floor, and bring energy. Maybe Jake LaRavia becomes that guy. Maybe Rui takes a leap. Maybe someone else steps up. But the foundation starts now, and it starts with Luka and Reeves. We've seen teams build around that kind of structure before. Look at Denver. For years, people questioned if Jokic and Murray were enough. Then they add Aaron Gordon, tweak the roster, and boom, championship. Same thing in Milwaukee. Giannis and Middleton, good, but not enough. Add Drew Holiday, and suddenly the pieces fit. The lesson? You don't always need 2 top 5 guys. Sometimes, one elite star plus 2 high-level, versatile teammates is all you need. So this isn't just a 10-game stretch without LeBron. This is a measuring stick. This is where you find out who's real, who's ready, who's just a name on the roster, and who's part of the core moving forward. Because once LeBron comes back, the pecking order resets. But the impressions made during this stretch, those will linger. Those will matter when it's time to make tough calls in February, and even more so next summer. If there's one thing the Lakers have needed for years, it's clarity. Not just clarity about LeBron or about chasing titles in the short term, but about who this team is supposed to be once LeBron walks away. That time is coming sooner rather than later. And for a franchise that refuses to rebuild the traditional way, the plan has to be in motion now. That's why this early stretch, without LeBron, might be the most valuable window the team will get all season. Because what's about to happen isn't theoretical. It's real minutes, real games, and real pressure, all without the safety net of the king. And what happens under that pressure? That's when you find out who's built for the moment. So much of that weight falls on the shoulders of Austin Reeves. Because as much as Luka Doncic is already viewed as one of the league's elite, this is a time where Reeves can either confirm his place in the team's future or raise legitimate questions. Last season, when Reeves played without LeBron, his numbers skyrocketed. Nearly 28 points per game, filling the stat sheet like a borderline all-star. But those were isolated flashes, moments in a chaotic season. Now the spotlight is constant. Now it's not just about filling in. It's about leading from the opening tip to the final buzzer. And what the Lakers will be watching closely isn't just the numbers. Though those matter, it's how Reeves handles being the focal point. Does he force things when Luka is double-teamed? Can he create advantages on his own, not just off of someone else's gravity? Can he handle being the number two when it's expected, not just when it's convenient? Because being the surprise guy, the fan favorite who plays above expectations, that's one role. But being the guy you're paying $35 million a year to play beside a superstar, that comes with an entirely different level of expectation, scrutiny, and responsibility. The Lakers front office is watching this not just for the now, but for what comes next. This upcoming offseason, decisions have to be made. Real ones, expensive ones. You can't pay everyone. You can't hold on to every young player with potential. So the decisions they make in the next 9 months are going to be shaped by what they learn in this early stretch. If Reeves and Luka gel, if the offense flows through them with rhythm and consistency, if they're winning games and playing at a high level, that's a signal. That's a green light to lock those guys in and start figuring out who fits around them. But if the chemistry is clunky, if Reeves struggles to find his rhythm, if teams figure out how to disrupt the flow between him and Luka, then suddenly the contract talks start to feel heavier. Suddenly you're asking yourself, are we sure he's the right guy? That's not a shot at Reeves. He's already proved himself as one of the league's best value players. But moving from value to cornerstone is a leap, and not every player makes it. And again, it's not just about scoring. It's about how he fits when the game slows down. When it's a one-possession game with 3 minutes left in the fourth, and you need a stop, a smart decision, a playmaker who doesn't blink. Those are the moments the Lakers are going to remember. And what about the rest of the roster? Guys like Rui Hachimura, DeAndre Ayton, and Jake LaRavia. These next games could be defining for them too. Ayton, especially, has a chance to show that he's more than just a pick-and-roll finisher or a glass cleaner. He's going to get real touches, real usage, real opportunities to operate in the post or stretch the floor. If he delivers, if he becomes a consistent force next to Luka, he solidifies his place. But if he fades into the background, or worse, becomes a liability on defense or a rhythm killer on offense, that could force the Lakers to reassess their long-term vision. For Rui, this could go either way. We've seen stretches where he looks like a perfect third piece. Versatile, confident, physical, a matchup nightmare. But we've also seen games where he disappears. He floats, defers too much, gets caught watching instead of attacking. That won't cut it if you're trying to convince the organization you deserve a long-term role. Because let's be real, if someone like LaRavia suddenly shows he's more comfortable playing next to Luka, more natural in his role, more productive on both ends, the team is going to take notice. No one spot is guaranteed in this league, especially when you're a role player who hasn't fully broken out yet. This is also the perfect moment to evaluate not just individual skill sets, but lineup chemistry. Can the Lakers find a second unit that can actually extend leads? Can they trust guys like Gabe Vincent to stabilize the offense without LeBron acting as the anchor? What happens when Luka sits? Who takes over playmaking duties then? These are the kinds of questions that can only be answered in live game situations, and there's no better testing ground than the regular season without your leader. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the basketball world is buzzing with whispers and speculation as one of the most talked about moves of the season seems to be taking shape. Sources close to the situation suggest that Karl-Anthony Towns, the towering Minnesota Timberwolves star known for his smooth shooting and dominant inside presence, might be heading to Los Angeles. While nothing has been officially confirmed, fans are already imagining the Lakers purple and gold embracing one of the league's most versatile big men. Word on the street is that Towns' arrival in LA wouldn't be quiet. Rumors hint at a grand, celebratory welcome, complete with a fanfare that could rival even the most star-studded free agent introductions in recent memory. Social media chatter has exploded with Lakers supporters speculating on how Towns could fit alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and analysts are already debating the potential playoff impact. Could this be the missing piece for a Lakers team that has flirted with glory but never quite solidified its dominance? Insiders whisper about the behind-the-scenes maneuvering that could make this move possible. The Timberwolves, despite their loyalty to their star, might be tempted by the prospect of a blockbuster trade that could reshape their roster for years to come. Meanwhile, in Los Angeles, the Lakers front office is said to be working tirelessly to orchestrate the perfect landing, ensuring Towns feels both celebrated and essential from day one. The buzz isn't limited to the hardwood. Fashion brands, local celebrities, and entertainment moguls are reportedly eager to participate in what could be a spectacular Los Angeles arrival event. Imagine flashing cameras, city lights, and a crowd chanting KT in unison, all signaling a new era for the Lakers and a new chapter in Towns' career. Of course, the league has yet to confirm anything, and insiders caution that negotiations in the NBA are notoriously unpredictable. But the excitement is undeniable, and fans on both coasts are holding their breath, wondering if Karl-Anthony Towns will soon bring his offensive arsenal and towering presence to the City of Angels. If these rumors hold true, the Lakers' next season might just begin with a bang, and the basketball world will be watching every move. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.